What's up, guys? It's Lord Both here for another video, and Splitgate 2 has released, and yeah, we're gonna talk about the hat thing, because that's what everybody wants to talk about, apparently, is the hat thing and the apology. But we're also gonna talk about, the nuts and bolts of how the game is actually performing, and some of the other controversies that have been looked over, I feel. First off, if you didn't know, Ian Prolix, I think that's how you say his last name. He is the CEO of 1047 Games that produces Splitgate, and he came out during Summer Games Fest with a hat that read, "Make FPS Great Again." Obviously a play off of the Trump slogan, "Make America Great Again." He also made some disparaging remarks about Call of Duty as a franchise, talked longingly about a Titanfall 3, which I think we all think longingly about a Titanfall 3, and then introduced everybody to Splitgate 2. And of course, this made waves on the internet, because if you even have a whiff of the orange man stink on you, the hardcore lefties in both the gaming industry and entertainment in general will come online to find you and lambast you in all caps. And for a little while, Prolix was basically like, hey, the hat was meant to say what it said. There's no other political messaging with it. I just used the slogan. It was meant to grab attention, and I think we did that. And he said he wasn't going to apologize, etc., etc. But then guess what? He apologized. He made an apology video. This is from Pirate Nation. Splitgate 2 boss Ian Prolix has apologized for the Make FPS Great Again hat he wore on stage at the Summer Games Fest. Quote, "We needed something to grab attention, and the honest truth is we tried to think of something, and this is what we came up with. I will say two things about this. One, the people he is apologizing to are never going to accept his apology or accept him back into the fold where they want to play his game or like him ever. So I don't really know what he's apologizing for there, or who he's apologizing to. Secondly, he also stated in his apology video that he still stands by the messaging that he was trying to get across with his hat and his statements. So it was less of an apology and more of a apology. So I don't really know exactly why he did this, other than his PR team said, no, you're gonna piss the lefties off. You need to go out and you need to make a statement. You should feel bad about this because the lefties are really talking bad about you on Twitter. But I think this is really burying the story here in terms of this game, because the story shouldn't actually be about a man wearing a hat and the messaging behind that hat, if it's political or not. It should be about the game's actual performance. And though while some are trying to spin it very positively, I'd say it's mixed at best. This comes to us from Insider Gaming, entitled "Splitgate 2 more than tripled its player base since open beta." That sounds really good, right? Seems like they're on the right track if they're tripling their player base, right? Well, maybe. We'll take a look at the numbers here and see what they actually say. The article states, under the apology post for wearing the hat on X, one fan commented, "All that matters is player numbers. How are we looking?" The Splitgate 2 social media account responded, quote, "Our player base has more than tripled since beta. Specifically, we had a ton of recent success on console." And it's funny, they're touting up the console numbers, the stuff we can't actually get a hold of, because the Steam numbers, they tell an interesting story, and we'll get to that in just a sec. Because the article also states Prolix hat and comments about Call of Duty weren't the only Splitgate 2 controversies. At launch, a cosmetic bundle was available for $140, advertised as 45% off the original. What? 1047 Games listened to the community feedback and reduced the price to $40. Yeah, they cut $100 off the reduced price of the cosmetic bundle. Still, Prolix claimed that the decision was made by the former head of monetization, who had previously worked on Call of Duty and was allegedly aggressive with pricing. Yeah, no shit. By the way, it's funny that he came out and he tried to lambaste Call of Duty while also having people that worked on Call of Duty having worked for him, and also doing the same kind of monetization practices as Call of Duty still to this day. But even in light of the developing rivalry with Call of Duty, Splitgate 2 continues to succeed. Again, let's take a look at the numbers. So first, this is Splitgate 1's numbers. 123 players right now. I mean, that's to be expected. The sequel game just came out, right? So people who played Splitgate 1, they've gone to go play the sequel. However, they had an all-time peak of 67,724 players. You take a look at the reviews, 90% and positive. Now we'll go to the Splitgate 2 player count and oh my. So maybe it will pop off all the way at the end of this week on the weekend when people have more free time to actually sit down and play it. Now granted, this is a Tuesday, so those players right now numbers, it's up in the air. But 5 days out and its all-time peak is 25,000 players? Basically 40,000 players less than the original Splitgate on Steam? And look at the reviews, 61% compared to 90%. Mixed reviews on this thing. And you can see they're really touting the console numbers because when you take a look at the actual Steam PC numbers, they tell a very different story comparing the first game to the second game. Now listen, I don't know what the budget for this game was. We have no idea in terms of actual sales figures. I mean, again, this is a free-to-play game, so they make all of their money off of those cosmetic bundles and other microtransactions, right? So is this thing gonna be a flop or already a flop? We don't actually know. But what these PC numbers, the actual raw numbers, are telling me right now is that this game is underperforming the first one. Now maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do have a massive influx of console players to counterbalance. But my feeling is, I'm not too sure about that. Personally, this franchise feels like, to me, guys that are always trying to punch up at something that I don't think they're ever going to reach. They want to be some kind of Call of Duty competitor, right? Just like a lot of guys in the past have wanted to be a Call of Duty competitor, but they're never actually going to reach that height the same way other people have not reached that height. And to gaming's detriment, Call of Duty kind of knows that, which is why we haven't gotten great content out of them in the last couple iterations, and why their next game that they're coming out with this year is Black Ops 7, which I'm sure they'll finally figure out the massive cheating problems this time, guys. This is the one. This is the one where they're going to change everything and actually follow through. But yeah, would I like to see a real COD competitor and rival? Yes. Do I think Splitgate is ever going to actually get there? I don't think so. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you liked this video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you watching all of it, and we'll talk to you again later.